Being an artist is not being an athlete. You don't need to do your best work before you turn 30 and like your knees give out. Being an artist is a lifelong pursuit, and it is something that gets better as you get older. And like as long as your brain works and as long as you can articulate what's in your brain to people, you can make art.
I tell myself all the time, and like young people all the time, to stop sweating the timeline. You know, I think there's a lot of pressure on young folks to do, and certainly I would put it on myself, to be whatever you're trying to be that very soon. Most of you did not know who I was before Hamilton happened, but I was in my 30s then, you know. So I spent a lot of time stressing about time instead of just enjoying my time.
Staying at the bed and breakfast over a block away, and they have what I believe it could be a real Virginia ham hanging outside my doorway as ambience. All right, come on, stop it. I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't.
Well, the goal was, kind of the early conversations I had with the directors was that they want it to feel like a narrative film, which I think is cool. And I think some people that I've shown it to are even kind of confused by it, and I like that. It's a story that I think a lot of people can relate to, even though, you know, I'm from rural Virginia, and I never flew on a plane until I was 17. And I'm in no way comparing myself to an 11-year-old Nigerian boy, but I really related to that kind of fish out of water feeling, and I think a lot of people can.
The only way we really have seen Cabrini Green portrayed is either Good Times in the 70s on the sitcom or Candyman in horror. And she was like, I really want to look at this neighborhood through the lens of children and see it through their eyes. And so that was just something we really wanted to key into, was that kind of joy of childhood, but also at the cusp of the moment where you kind of start to realize that the world is a little bit different.
My hope was to show a long form story, like an arc where you truly see someone change over years, which is what you don't get in documentaries so often, because you're making a documentary in 6 months, maybe a year. This was 3 years filming, a year and a half of editing, where I was like, I'm telling a long form story about this turn of a character.
You know, it's so funny because when you talk about your book, you often go to the big themes. And for me personally, that's not what draws me into a novel. It's something I saw, something I heard, something that made me uncomfortable or emotional or really happy, and it just brought me into that world.
For me, I'm always looking for a small thing that talks about a big thing, because I think it's really hard to be at scale with disaster, but if you can find something that echoes that idea that's really tangible, I think that can be a really nice way to talk about big things.
Because if you talk to anybody who works in film or even in any kind of career, you know, they'll oftentimes offhandedly just mention oh yeah, no, I loved Grey's Anatomy as a kid and that's why I'm a doctor. Or they will cite a movie that really kind of changed their life. And just oftentimes people just say this conversationally, but it comes up often enough that you're kind of well, I should look into that probably.
Anytime you feel completely beaten down by pursuing a creative career of any kind, just remember you always have what's in you, which is your creativity, your ideas, your artistic expression, and that alone is worth it. No matter who sees it, one person or a million, that is always worth it.